All right, strap in, everyone. Today's deep dive takes us into some seriously shady corners of the internet. We're talking about a hacking group so notorious they've got the FBI on their tail.
And the methods they're using to fight back sound like something straight out of a spy thriller.
No kidding. It involves malware, a digital disappearing act, and a price tag that'll make you raise an eyebrow.
Uh-huh.
We're basing this deep dive on a report from the Hacker News.
A solid source for all things cybersecurity, for sure.
For sure. And this story isn't just about some data breach, you know. It's about how authorities went head-to-head with a massive malware infection in a way that, well, let's just say they got creative.
It's definitely a case that shows how cybercrime is becoming a real-world problem, not just some digital boogeyman.
Right, exactly. So first things first, who are the bad guys here?
In this case, we're looking at a group known as Mustang Panda.
Okay, Mustang Panda, catchy name.
They've been on the radar of cybersecurity folks for a while now. They're known for being pretty sophisticated, and they've got a wide range of targets: governments, businesses, even activist groups.
So not exactly your average script kiddies messing around.
Definitely not. And there's a strong belief they have ties to China.
Yeah, the article mentioned that. But proving that kind of link in the cyber world,
It's tough.
it's like trying to trace a ghost.
Yeah, good analogy. The digital world makes it really hard to pinpoint exactly who's behind these attacks, even with all the tools we have.
So let's talk about the malware itself. The article calls it PlugX.
PlugX. This one's nasty. It's what's known as a remote access Trojan, or RRAT for short. Basically, it gives hackers a secret way into infected computers. Imagine, like, having a hidden key to your house. Someone can just waltz in, snoop through your stuff, maybe even steal things, and you'd never know they were there.
Okay, that is creepy. So it's not just like stealing files or spying on your browsing history.
No, it's way bigger than that. With a RRAT like PlugX, attackers can get their hands on sensitive info like your bank details, your passwords, even control systems that, well, could have some real-world impact.
Like critical infrastructure and stuff.
Exactly. That's what makes this so serious. It's not just digital mischief. It's a real threat with potentially huge consequences.
Yeah, the article said the FBI found over 4,250 infected computers in the U.S. alone.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. The actual number could be much higher.
So what did the FBI do about it? How do you even begin to deal with something this big?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. They got permission from the courts and launched a pretty big operation to fight back against PlugX. But here's the thing. They didn't just try to stop it. They actually deleted it from infected computers.
Wait, they deleted it remotely, like wiped it clean?
Precisely. It's bold, and it brings up some interesting legal and ethical questions for sure.
I can imagine. But hold on, before we go there, tell me how they pulled this off.
They teamed up with a cybersecurity company called Sequoia, who were key in all this. They used a technique called sinkholing. What they did is redirect traffic from the server that was controlling the malware to a safe one they controlled.
So like rerouting the bad guy's signals into a dead end?
Exactly. The malware was trying to communicate, but Sequoia was basically running a ghost town.
That's pretty clever. And how much did this high-tech operation cost?
Get this. Sequoia managed to sinkhole the server for just $7.
$7. I spend more than that on coffee every day.
It's wild, right? It just goes to show how resourceful cybersecurity experts can be.
Okay, so they took control of the server, but how did they actually get rid of the malware on all those computers?
They issued a self-delete command.
A self-delete. Sounds kind of scary.
Powerful, that's for sure. And yeah, it does raise some eyebrows about how far this kind of power should go.
It's like we're stepping into a whole new world of crime fighting, where the line between the physical and digital gets really blurry.
Absolutely. And this whole Mustang Panda PlugX case is a perfect example of how those lines are getting harder and harder to define.
Okay, so let's talk about those lines then. What are the rules when the FBI is deleting files from people's computers, even if it's malware? Where's the line between security and, basic rights?
That's the million-dollar question, and it's one that even legal experts are still wrestling with. In this case, the FBI got the green light from the courts because the potential harm from the malware was just so big. But it definitely highlights the challenges of applying old laws to this new digital world.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of making up the rules as we go along, and cases like this are going to set some big precedents for how we deal with cybercrime in the future.
It's kind of like the Wild West out there.
In a lot of ways it is, but that makes it all the more important to understand what's going on and how we can stay safe.
All right, so we've got state-sponsored hackers, malware that can take over your computer, and a global cleanup operation. All sounds very high-tech and frankly, a bit overwhelming. But what does this mean for everyday internet users like me? Am I at risk from groups like Mustang Panda?
That's a great question, and it's one a lot of people have. While governments and big companies might seem like the main targets, cybercriminals don't discriminate. In fact, the FBI's operation found PlugX on thousands of home computers, too.
Thousands. Really? So this isn't just a problem for the big players.
Not at all. Anyone who uses the internet is a potential target, and that's why it's crucial for everyone to understand the risks and how to protect themselves.
Okay, so this is getting a little unsettling. What can we do to stay safe in this digital Wild West?
Don't freak out, but definitely be informed and proactive. There are simple steps you can take to drastically reduce your chances of becoming a victim.
Okay, give me the basics. What are the top things we should all be doing?
First things first, keep your software updated. I know those update notifications can be annoying, but they're your first line of defense against known vulnerabilities.
So no more hitting remind me later.
Seriously, install those updates ASAP. Another big one is using strong, unique passwords for everything. And please, please, enable two-factor authentication whenever you can. It adds a whole extra layer of security.
Got it. Strong passwords, two-factor, check. What about antivirus software? Is that still important?
Definitely. A good antivirus can be a lifesaver when it comes to blocking malware, especially those sneaky RTs we talked about earlier. But remember, technology is only part of the solution.
So what's the other part?
Being aware and practicing good cyber hygiene. Think before you click on links. Be careful about opening attachments from people you don't know, and watch out for phishing scams, those emails or messages that try to trick you into giving away personal info.
So it's about tools and smarts. Don't just rely on tech, but be smart about how you use it.
You got it. A little bit of caution goes a long way in keeping you safe online.
This whole conversation has really made me think about the bigger picture. We hear about cybercrime all the time, but this Mustang Panda case makes it real. It's not just about data breaches or stolen passwords. It's about espionage, political games, and the potential for real disruption on a global scale.
Exactly. It highlights how cybercrime is blending with traditional criminology. The methods might be different, but the goals often align with those of real-world criminals. Money, power, chaos, you name it.
So how do we fight crime that doesn't respect borders and happens in a world where it's so hard to even identify the criminals? It feels like we're always a step behind.
It's a huge challenge, no doubt, but it's not impossible. Law enforcement is evolving, coming up with new tactics, and working together across borders to tackle the unique challenges of cybercrime.
Like we saw in this case, with the FBI and Sequoia teaming up.
Right. Those kinds of partnerships between public and private sectors are becoming crucial in this fight. Cybersecurity companies often have expertise and intelligence that can be invaluable to law enforcement.
It seems like prevention is going to be key here.
Absolutely. Educating people and businesses about cybersecurity best practices is crucial. The more aware we are of the threats and how to protect ourselves, the less likely we are to become victims.
So it's a multi-pronged approach. Technology, laws, international cooperation, and public awareness. It's like we need all hands on deck to deal with this growing threat.
You got it. It's a complex problem, but it's one we can't ignore. The stakes are way too high.
This deep dive has definitely shown me just how complex and challenging this all is. It's not just about protecting our data anymore, it's about protecting our infrastructure, our national security, even our way of life.
You've hit on something really important. The digital world isn't some separate thing anymore. It's woven into every aspect of our lives. And as this case shows, what happens online can have very real consequences offline.
So as we wrap up this part of the discussion, where do we go from here? What are the key takeaways for our listeners as we navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape? So the FBI, with little help from their friends at Sequoia, they managed to redirect all that malware traffic and send out this self-destruct command. But how did the actual cleanup happen? Did infected computers get a pop-up saying, deleting malware now, or something?
Oh, nothing that dramatic. The whole process was designed to be super stealthy. Sequoia created a script very carefully targeted to take out PlugX and only PlugX.
So it's like a surgeon going in and removing just the bad stuff, leaving everything else untouched.
That's a great way to put it, like removing a tumor without harming the healthy tissue around it. The goal was to neutralize the threat, but without messing up the user's computer or their data.
That's impressive. But still, legally speaking, doesn't this feel a bit iffy? I mean, can the FBI just go around deleting stuff from people's computers, even if it is malware?
Yeah, it's definitely a gray area and something that legal experts are still debating. In this case, the FBI did get court authorization for the operation.
So they got a warrant, basically.
Who could say that? Their argument was that the potential harm from the malware was just too great to ignore, but it definitely raises questions about that balance between security and individual privacy.
It's a tough one, for sure.
It is. This case really shows how tricky it can be to apply old laws to this new, fast-changing world of cybercrime. What might be okay in the physical world doesn't always translate so neatly to the digital realm.
Right, like we were saying earlier, it's kind of like the Wild West out there.
Exactly. And that's why these cases are so important. They're setting precedents for how we deal with cybercrime in the future. They're helping us write the rule book as we go.
Speaking of going places, the article mentioned that this wasn't just a US-only operation.
Oh, absolutely not.
Sequoia went after infected computers in 10 different countries.
That's right. They sent out nearly 60,000 of these disinfection payloads to over 5,500 IP addresses. It's a global problem.
It's like a game of whack-a-mole, but on a worldwide scale.
Ah, good analogy. Cybercrime knows no borders. The FBI's reach is limited to the US, but the malware, the hackers, they could be anywhere in the world. That's what makes international cooperation so crucial.
Yeah, because trying to fight this country by country, it's just not going to cut it.
Nope. It's like trying to stop a flood by putting a dam on just one side of the river. Cybercriminals take advantage of how interconnected everything is online, so to fight them effectively, we need a global response.
So we've talked about the technical side of things, the legal stuff, but what about the human element? Who are these Mustang Panda hackers, and what are they after?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, it's one of the most frustrating aspects of cybercrime investigations. Figuring out who's behind an attack and why they did it is incredibly difficult. With Mustang Panda, the prevailing theory is that they're state-sponsored, most likely working for the Chinese government.
So this isn't just some teenagers in their basement trying to steal credit card numbers. We're talking about potential espionage, maybe even trying to influence political stuff.
Yeah, you're getting it. The stakes are incredibly high. Cybercrime can impact national security, the economy, even global politics.
It's starting to feel less like a tech story and more like a spy thriller.
It definitely has that element of intrigue, but this is real life. And it underscores how serious cybercrime is. It's not a game, it has real-world consequences.
Okay, so we've got state-sponsored hackers, we've got malware that can basically hijack your computer, and we've got this global cleanup operation. All sounds very high-tech and complex. But how does this all relate to everyday people like me? Am I at risk from groups like Mustang Panda?
It's a valid question, and one a lot of people are asking. You see the headlines about governments and big companies getting hit, but cybercriminals target regular people too. Remember, the FBI found PlugX on thousands of home computers.
Thousands. So this isn't just a problem for big institutions.
Nope, not at all. Anyone connected to the internet is a potential target. That's why it's so important for everyone to understand the threats and how to protect themselves.
This is all starting to feel a little unsettling, to be honest.
Yes.
What can we do to stay safe in this digital Wild West? You mentioned being proactive earlier. What did you mean?
Don't panic, first of all, but definitely be informed and take steps to protect yourself. There are simple things you can do that make a huge difference.
Okay, so give me the rundown. What are the must-dos?
The most important thing is keeping your software updated. I know those update notifications can be annoying, but they really are your first line of defense. They patch vulnerabilities that cybercriminals try to exploit.
So no more ignoring those update reminders.
Seriously, install them as soon as you can. Another crucial thing is using strong, unique passwords for all your accounts, and enable two-factor authentication whenever it's offered.
So strong passwords, two-factor. Got it. What about antivirus software? Is that still a thing?
Absolutely. A good antivirus can be a lifesaver when it comes to blocking malware, especially those RITs we talked about. But remember, technology is only part of the solution.
Right, you said that earlier, so what's the other part?
It's about being smart and aware when you're online. Think before you click on links. Be cautious about opening attachments from people you don't know, and watch out for phishing attempts. Those are emails or messages that try to trick you into giving away personal information.
So it's about tools and smarts.
Yeah.
Using good security software, but also being cautious and aware.
Exactly. A little bit of caution goes a long way in keeping you safe online.
This whole conversation has really opened my eyes to the bigger picture here. We hear about cybercrime all the time, but this Mustang Panda case, it really brings it home. It's not just about stolen data. It's about espionage, politics, and the potential for things to go haywire on a global scale.
That's a great point. This case really highlights how cybercrime is becoming intertwined with traditional criminology. The methods might be different, but the goals are often the same. money, power, disruption, even chaos.
So how do we fight crime that ignores borders and operates in this digital world where it's so hard to even pinpoint who the criminals are? Feels like we're constantly playing catch up.
It's definitely a challenge, there's no doubt about that. But law enforcement is adapting, developing new strategies, and working together across borders to deal with the unique aspects of cybercrime.
Like we saw with the FBI and Sequoia teaming up.
Exactly. Those kinds of partnerships between the public and private sectors are becoming more and more important. Cybersecurity firms often have specialized knowledge and access to information that can be really helpful for law enforcement.
It also feels like prevention is going to be key in all of this.
100%. Educating individuals and businesses about best practices for cybersecurity is crucial. The more we know about the threats and how to protect ourselves, the less likely we are to become victims.
So it's a multifaceted approach. Technology, laws, international cooperation, and public awareness. It's like we need all hands on deck to really tackle this growing threat.
You got it. It's a complex problem, but it's one we can't afford to ignore. The stakes are simply too high.
This deep dive has really shown me just how complex and challenging this all is. It's not just about protecting our data anymore. It's about protecting our infrastructure, our national security, our way of life, really.
That's a really important point. The digital world isn't some separate entity anymore. It's woven into every aspect of our lives. And as this case shows, what happens online can have very real consequences offline.
So as we wrap up this part of the discussion, where do we go from here? What are some key takeaways for our listeners as we try to navigate this increasingly complex digital landscape?
Yeah, it really feels like cybersecurity needs to be part of a much bigger conversation now. It's not just about keeping our computers and data safe, but about how all this connects to national security, international relations, even the basic idea of law and order in this digital age. I think you've hit on a really important point. The digital world isn't some separate entity anymore. It's deeply intertwined with everything, our lives, our economies, global systems. And what we see with cases like this, the actions of cyber criminals can have some seriously major real-world consequences.
So the question is, how do our legal systems, law enforcement, how do they adapt to fight crime that's happening in cyberspace? It still feels like we're always trying to catch up.
Yeah, it's a valid point. Traditional law enforcement was designed for a physical world with borders, jurisdictions. Cybercrime just throws all that out the window. It operates across borders, making it super hard to track down the bad guys and hold them accountable.
It's like trying to police a city that only exists online, right? Where do you even begin?
You need a whole new way of thinking, honestly. New legal frameworks that understand the unique challenges of cybercrime. Better international cooperation to share information and work together on investigations. And definitely more investment and training for law enforcement to give them the skills and tools they need to operate in this digital world.
So it's not just about reacting after a breach, but about building a digital world that's more secure from the ground up.
Exactly. Prevention is crucial. We need to shift away from just cleaning up after attacks and focus on proactive measures that make our digital defenses stronger.
So what does that look like? What can governments and organizations do to make the digital world more secure?
It's a multi-layered approach, for sure. On the tech side, we need more research and development to create secure software and hardware, explore new approaches like using AI and machine learning for cybersecurity, and definitely establish strong protocols for data protection and how we respond to incidents.
But technology alone can't solve everything, can it? There's a human factor here as well.
Absolutely. We need to prioritize cybersecurity education and awareness for everyone. Individuals, businesses, government agencies, people need to understand the threats, how to protect themselves, and how to report anything that looks suspicious. And within organizations, we need a culture of cybersecurity where security is baked into everything they do, not just an afterthought.
It sounds like a huge task.
It is. But it's absolutely necessary. The cost of doing nothing is too high. Cybercrime is a global problem, and it has the potential to seriously disrupt our lives, our economies, our national security. We can't afford to ignore it. We need to invest the resources to fight it effectively.
This deep dive has definitely shown me the size and complexity of the challenge, but I also feel a sense of, well, hope. There are really smart people working on this problem, coming up with creative solutions and working together globally to try and make the digital world a safer place.
Definitely. It's an ongoing battle for sure, but we're not helpless. By working together, raising awareness, pushing for stronger cybersecurity measures, we can make a difference.
So what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What can they do as individuals to navigate this digital world and protect themselves from the ever-changing threats out there?
Don't panic, for one thing, but be informed, stay curious, learn about the threats, how they work, how you can reduce your risk. There are tons of resources online. News sites, educational websites, government
And
agencies.
of course, a great podcast or two, right?
Exactly. Find those reliable sources and stay up to date on what's happening in the cybersecurity world.
And if something feels off online, trust your gut and ask for help.
Absolutely. Remember, cybersecurity isn't just about technology. It's about awareness, education, being responsible online. Just by taking simple steps and staying informed, you can make a huge difference in your own online safety.
So, to everyone listening, I hope this deep dive into the world of Mustang Panda, PlugX, and the FBI's counter operation has given you a look behind the curtain of what's happening in cyberspace. It's a complex world, always changing, but with the right knowledge and a healthy dose of skepticism online, we can navigate it safely and confidently.
It's been a great discussion, and I hope it encourages everyone to explore cybersecurity further. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and remember, we're all in this together.
And that's a wrap on this deep dive. We'll be back soon to explore another corner of the digital world. Until then, stay safe out there, everyone.